Welcome to Women on the Front Line International Fellowship Live TV Internet program. I am Apostle Dr. Sanja Stinson, and I am your host. I am so happy to be coming into your homes, on your iPads, on your phones, or however you are viewing us. Yes, we are in our 5th year. God is amazing. He is really blessing. And I want to take this opportunity to invite you to our June 21st, 22nd through 23rd Women on the Front Line conference entitled Hidden Impact Out of the Shadows. That conference is going to be held at Holiday Inn, Oakbrook. And we have an early bird registration that ends on May 1st. The early bird registration is $75, and that includes your material, and it also includes the conference information. So listen, I want you to go to our website and register today, www.sanyastinsonministries.com. And today I have, for the first time in our studios, and I'm so excited about her. I've known her for quite some time, and she is just an awesome woman of God and have a wonderful and phenomenal story about where she's been and where she has come from and how God has just turned her life around and have blessed her. So I want to take this opportunity to introduce you to Pastor Rickette Green. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So I am just excited about what God has been doing in your life. How I've seen you grow and blossom and just stepped out, and now I understand that you have started Kingdom Alternative for Youth.
Yes.
And that is a program that we're going to get to. But what I would like you to do is just let's have a conversation about where you've been, if you can share about your life and what God has done for you.
I can. Well, again, as she said, I'm Pastor Rickette Green, and where have I been? Where has life taken me? I could say I knew that things were happening in my life, and God was molding my life and shaping my life. When I look as far back as 12 years old, I'm a few moons over 12 now, but when I look back to 12 years old, I can say that it's when God began to create in me a heart to forgive, a heart to persevere, and the endurance and tenacity to conquer all. It was the time of my life when my dad passed away, and I began to go on this cycle of being violated. I had numerous amounts of violations that happened in my life, sexual violations, friends, family members, friends of family, and that started this process of violating me. So I was this little girl, 12, stuck, confused, feeling abandoned because my dad was gone, and I was left to deal with and process these challenges that happened in my life.
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And talk about that violence. So when you talk about that violence, that really affected your life.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So talk a little bit to me about that.
I will. So what happened is I began to become altered in my identity, if you will. I began to kind of like I developed a level of anger, a level of frustration. I lived in this secluded and place where I didn't trust and I couldn't trust because those that I trusted were those that were responsible for the violations. And so I began to kind of like, it was me against the world, if you will. I tried to share with those that were responsible for my care, my mom and other relatives in my family. And it was this like, you don't tell kind of sort of thing, or, you know, we just brushed that under the rug.
So it was like a code of silence.
Yeah, it was definitely a code of silence. And so I began to figure out how to be a warrior. I began to figure out how to fend for myself and develop the necessary fight to fight off the offender, to fight off challenges. And in the process of that, it made me a little tougher than I wanted to be.
Okay.
It created some shells on the outside that wasn't really indicative to who I am as a person, but it was what I felt was necessary to survive. And so time in life would go on and progress, and I kind of overcame some of those things. That season in my life ended, and so now I'm left to figure out who I am and make this journey in life independently. I don't want to suggest that my family wasn't there, my mom wasn't there, that my relatives wasn't there, but I'm talking about there was an internal war, and I had to figure it out, individually what was going to be.
Isn't that what our children are going through now?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly where our kids are now. So I had to figure out, what am I going to do? Who am I going to trust? Can I love again? Can I trust again? Can I be vulnerable? Can I open my heart to somebody?
Wow.
And then I fell in love with a young man. Time went on. I had a child. Then my child passed away at 6 months. And so now I'm like, what
What's
is
this?
this? You know what I mean? Like, I tried it all over again. And now the first time I feel what the intimacy of love really is came through the birth of my child, and then 6 months later was the expiration of her life. So now I'm angry again, and I'm mad at God, and I'm like, what kind of God is this? And how could a person endure so many negative challenges in life? How can you move on from this? And I just pretty much thought that, just life is not even worth living.
Wow.
There's nothing to, no matter how much you try to achieve, no matter how much you try to overcome and move on, it seems like things hinder you, and you get these hard blows and these hard hits that stagnate the progression of life. So I was angry and I was bitter, but I was also full of voids. And so I was longing for something, and longing for the replacement of that love that I lost in the child. And now the relationship that I had has dissolved as well. And so I'm like, what do I do? Where do I go? And so then I get pregnant again, and I have another baby, but I'm broken, right?
You're broken.
I'm broken.
Talk about that brokenness.
I'm broken, and it's like, yeah. So I got the baby, but I don't even know how to love the baby because I'm broken. And what I thought would fulfill me isn't really fulfillment.
Okay.
Because now I don't even know how to love her, and I don't know how to care for her because I'm so fragmented
And you
myself.
didn't feel loved yourself.
And I didn't feel loved myself.
Even
And
though
I had-
family was there, you didn't feel
family
loved.
was there, but there was this piece of me that didn't necessarily feel that I was important enough. And I didn't feel that type of love that I needed to be able to transfer to a child.
I know so many children that
Yeah.
are dealing, some personal in my
Yes.
own family that are dealing
Yes.
with that. But let's go on.
And because I had lost a child, now I'm scared to love her, my new child, my daughter that passed away. Her name is Jaleese. So now I have Ashanta, and I'm scared to love Ashanta with a free heart, because what if the
fear.
same thing happens, right? And so it's like, I can't really love Ashanta with a free heart. I love her, and that's all fine and well, but it's fake and it's a facade, and I can't love her with a free heart. So I came up with this wonderful decision that I was going to write this letter, and I wrote the letter, still have it to this day, to my sister, where I was giving her the guardianship of my daughter. And God is so awesome.
Yes, He
God
is.
has a way of arresting
Yes,
us.
He
You know
is.
what I
Yes,
mean? In
He
the
is.
middle of whatever it is that we're going through, no matter how bleak we think the situation is.
Oh,
God
I'm
has
a witness
way,
to that,
Yeah,
yes.
God has a way of arresting us. And so Ashanta has an asthma attack at 6 months, and Jaleese died at 6 months. And so the doctor said she wasn't going to make it. She coded 3 times. And now that warrior that I was when these violations happened, when I was 12, that warrior rose in me. And I was
Wow.
like, this is not happening. She will not die. And the little bit of God that I knew, I was like, look, I need you in this situation. And that's when I found the Lord. That's when my life navigated me to a place where I found the Lord.
Wow.
And when I found the Lord, I remember being in church, and my apostle preached a message, where are the fathers? And I remember experiencing a level of, I'm even emotional now.
That's all right.
And
That's
I
all right.
remember
That's good.
I remember experiencing a level of deliverance
Wow.
in that message. And I forgave the man that was in the grave that I was holding hostage to everything that life had brought me
He was
as a
dead.
result of his death. But he was dead. There's nothing he could do for me. And I'm holding a dead man hostage to my current situation. And so I forgave him and I let that go. And then I began to experience the love of my Heavenly Father.
Wow.
And I began to experience the love of God.
Wow.
And so now I'm in the faith and I'm in church and I'm in Christ, and God is beginning to just strip the layers of pain and the layers of these walls that I had built. God is beginning to just strip these things off of me and just rid me of all of these things, and so that the real me can be exposed, and the real me can now live again, and the real me can now breathe again, and the real me can come forward. And so and I fell in love with my daughter in a way that is impeccable.
Wow.
And I mean, like, she truly became like the apple of my eye, and I fell in love with my daughter, and it's been a love affair since that very moment.
Yeah,
since
I've
she
met
was
your
five.
daughter. Yes, yes, yes.
It's been a love
You all are
affair.
so
between,
wonderful together.
yeah,
Yes.
it's been a love affair between she and I since that very moment, and that's where life is. So I know the pains of being ostracized. I know the pains of being cast out. I know the pains of being confused in who you are and where you're going, and not really having the stamp of approval from your father, not getting the
Love you're looking for.
identification of who you are, not experiencing love for the first time from your dad. I know the pains of that, and I know the woes and the plight of that young girls face today, but I also know the victory that's on the other side.
Wow.
That comes from the Lord Jesus Christ.
So Kingdom Alternative for Youth was sort of birthed out of some of the things that you've seen and you've experienced in your life, and know that the youth today
Yes.
are given the technology, given everything that is in front of them. When you think about where we are, and we're a little bit over the mountain, but thinking where we are, while we were exposed to some things, we were not exposed to
Yes.
thing. And today is such a fast pace
Yes.
that by the age of 3, they can work the computer
They can
or
do-
the
that's the
telephone
truth.
by better than we can. And so there goes the exposure if we as parents or Kingdom Alternative for Youth don't control it
That's right.
and rechannel it.
That's right.
So tell us about that.
So Kingdom Alternatives for Youth is definitely birthed out of a place of pain, right? It's birthed out of a place of identification. It's birthed out of I see me in them.
Okay.
I see who I once was in the youth that I service today. And so Kingdom Alternatives for Youth is a faith-based organization that understands this. There is no cookie cutter way to shaping and molding the minds of humanity. There is no one way to fix it. You have to develop and envelop a mindset and a perspective and an ideology, if you will, that what works for some is not going to work for all. So we create the versatility to be able to be diverse with the young people that we deal with, understanding where they are, can identify where they are, can feel that pain where they are, can express how you overcome it, because I have overcome it. And so most of the young people that I encounter, there's not a situation that I encounter with young people that I have not experienced either firsthand or very close to me. So I know what it looks like, what it feels like, the challenges that goes along with it, the hindrances that goes along with it, but the remedy to overcome it as well. And most of it, as you said, Dr. Stinson, is built on relationships. Everything about changing and refocusing this generation of young people is totally predicated upon relationships.
Because they're not going to accept what we accepted.
No.
They're not going to, and I know the Bible says spare the rods for his child, but at a certain age, that doesn't work.
That doesn't work.
Okay, that doesn't work.
That doesn't work.
Okay, so how do we reach our youth to let them know there is another way? There are alternatives out here. Well, you don't have to be like Joe down the street, but you can be your own identity and bring other people in. And so the mission of Kingdom Alternative for Youth is what?
To provide options for young people, to be a place of refuge, to be a retreat, to come to a place where we don't talk at you, we talk with you, we're not so untouched with your realities that we cannot understand where you are, that we cannot even help you cope with where you are and figure out how to overcome those things, overcome those challenges, the challenges of academic deficits, the challenges of not being able to meet the status quo where it comes to being socially accepted, fitting in your attire, in your appearance, in your mama can't afford the $300, sew-in hair weave. So now you got to figure out as a young girl, how do you blend in with your peers and not be ousted because you can't necessarily afford maybe what another family can afford. So we come in to help young people create a sense of comfort in the skin they're in, realizing that they have limitless potential and that it just needs to be unlocked and untapped. So our goal at Kingdom Alternatives for Youth is to identify the star that is within them, to shine the light on the star that is within them, and to get them to even see that there is a star in them, that there is there is quality in you, there is worth in you, there is purpose in you, and here's how we go about making those things become manifest in your life.
And so when you talk about that ethnically, what are you seeing? I know that it's in all ethnic groups, believe me. But what dangers do you see in certain type of ethnic groups that are facing?
Well, the dangers that I see, because as you stated, the challenges for every ethnicity is not the same. Some mirror each other, but not all. So the dangers that I see upon those in African American communities and urban communities, whether they're African American or not, if they're living in urban and impoverished communities, Latino communities that are challenged or have some, gang violence and things of that nature, the dangers that I see are there's a total lack of parenting. There's an absence of authority.
Is that because the parents have had it at age 14, 15, 16, 13, and they too don't know?
That is hugely part of the problem, because you have children that are being responsible for raising and growing children. So you have people that don't have foundational purposes, don't have, well, I don't want to say purposes, don't have foundation, don't have moral foundation, doesn't have social or economical foundations being made firm in their life. And now they're faced with a predicament where they have to raise someone else and be responsible for someone else. So I see the challenges of broken homes, dysfunctional homes in our communities, the challenges of children being put in positions where they have to provide for themselves. They have to figure out what they're going to eat. They go to households where there's no adult presence when they get in from school, and they can very well be left unattended for hours in and out at a time and made to provide for themselves. So they're hustlers, and they're,
they learn to hustle, though, right?
They learn to survive.
Right.
They hustle to survive. Everybody that's doing wrong isn't doing wrong because they want to do wrong.
Exactly.
Some of them are doing wrong because this is the only way of survival for
me.
Some young people are stealing not because they just have a bad nature to steal, but some are stealing to eat and to provide just their everyday necessities. So those are some of the challenges that I see in our communities, especially the communities that I target. I go after the lost.
You go after the lost.
I go after the lost.
And so when you talk about going after, you say it's faith-based, it's for schools. How do you plan to reach these young people? What are some of the goals? And once you reach them, when they graduate and move up, do you plan to train them to breach one
Absolutely.
And bring one?
Absolutely.
So how do you plan to do that?
So we provide mentoring, we provide seminars and workshops to make leaders. So we're training leaders. We're training young people to be leaders, that they can lead their communities and lead neighborhoods, lead their families, lead their homes, not usurping authority or anything of that nature, but they can be a leader amongst leaders, that they can be enveloped and developed to a place where they can go after someone of like kind once they get to a particular level of maturity and leadership. So we have workshops, we have seminars. I do personal mentoring and training to young people. We expose them to things that is beyond the proximities of their community. We take them outside of their region and broaden their mind and so that they can see that there's a goal to reach for. If you have no goal set, then you have nothing to reach for. You have nothing to aspire to. So I personally look for opportunities to expose young people to all types of genres of living, music, entertainment, and things of that nature, so that they can have a broader perspective of something to look forward to, some level of hope. We promote and encourage education. We promote and encourage respect to oneself, to others, to your community, respecting your environment, and things of that nature. If you don't respect yourself, then it's very difficult to respect anybody else.
Well, and these are very interesting points, but technology is what many of our children
Absolutely
look for, want. They see the next child with an iPad or a Samsung 8 or 10 or whatever number they're up to at this point. Okay. And so, and they, they see the newest Adidas shoes and things like that, and the next child is not able to afford, as you said earlier. But how do you bring them in to say it's okay that this is not you right now? How do you bring a child in who's looking at the person next door, who's a little bit well off than there, and they know that they're hardly eating? What do you say to a child like that?
Well, I think that's where the development of comfort of oneself, right, and understanding this is something that your parents can't afford, you can't afford now, right? And so this is where you are now. So you have to create a level of comfort of where you are now, because the only other option is to do things that are morally incorrect and wrong, and further perpetuating statistical truths regarding you. And so that's the only other way to obtain those things that you're eyeing or that you desire. So we help to teach them to create a level of comfort with who you are. Their clothes, material things, technology, that does not define you. The true character that is on the inside of you, that's the essence of your being. That's your compass of life as to who you are. So we help them identify a place, a mental place, that comes to that allows them to accept self. Like you have to be developed mentally to understand that is not an indication of wealth or worth. What I'm wearing.
That's good.
That doesn't define me in terms of my wealth or my worth. What determines my wealth and my worth exudes from the inside of me. It is not represented on the outside of me. And so we help them to come to that mental place where they understand. But we also know that peer pressure is real, right? And we know that the challenges of that, we know the challenges of that is real. So we're working to develop resources. I have a team of people that work with me that make donations to the organization. I solicit donations from others so that when young people complete various mentoring programs, we do have levels of stipends that is for them in terms of a little monetary value to help support them. I've partnered with other organizations and other people that give clothing vouchers and things of that nature. We have an 8-week training that we're trying to get we're building our clientele to get enough students involved in, and at the end of that 8-week training, we're going to give everybody a laptop.
Wow.
All students that complete all students or all young people that complete the mentoring program will get a laptop at the end of the mentoring training session as an incentive and a token, that says that there is reward for good things. There is reward for appropriate behavior. Just like there's consequences for wrong, there's rewards for doing right.
What's the age range that you're working with?
I primarily prefer the ages between 12 and 21.
And why is that?
Because I believe you are mentally mature enough to receive a level of impartation from what I have to offer. I understand my reach. That's my reach. And I believe you're mentally at a place that I can that you can receive a level of impartation if you're as young as 12. If you're to the age of 21, now I need you, and you've been with me, and you've been underneath my tutelage and received impartation from me. Now I need you to be what I was talking about earlier, a leader amongst leaders. So now you're at a place where you can now train and reach back to those that are younger. Train the trainer, exactly. However, although that's my preferred, sweet spot, 12 to 21, I will reach under 12 and I will reach above 21 if the need presents itself.
So when you talk about, the youth, and I can see you're very excited about it, and you're going into the schools and things like that. What about the churches? Because many of the churches are suffering with the youth program. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with the lights and the glitter and the jumping up and down. But at the end of the day, I've got to give them some substance.
You've got to give them some substance.
I got to give them some substance so they know what their worth is.
Absolutely.
And know exactly what's going on. And after we finish jumping up and down, singing praise and worship, beating the drums and things, but what is my worth? Is my worth just these drums?
Absolutely. So Kingdom Alternatives for Youth works from a holistic perspective.
Okay.
It is mentally, physically, emotionally, economically, educationally, and spiritually.
So you don't want them to be, and I don't like to say the word broke, but you want them to think of that they walk in a wealthy place. And that wealthy place, as the Bible says, does nothing mean that I've got a whole lot of money.
Oh, absolutely not.
That wealthy place takes the holistic approach to my life according to the word. So talk about that.
We deal with the triune being.
Okay.
We deal with this physical body and the temptations that exist in this physical body, the frailties, the flaws, the limits. I don't want to be this short. I don't want to be this tall. I don't want to be this fat. I'm too dark. I got pimples. We deal with the physical body and a level of acceptance to what exists in this physical body. The triune being body, soul, and spirit. We deal with that soul. The soul being your mind, your will, your emotions. That's the essence of man right there. You get your thinking right. You get your mind right. You get your will centered on the right things. Your will isn't ill. You don't have an ill will, and you get your emotions under control. You bring some stability to your emotions. You're not freaking out about every little thing, spazzing out about every little thing, have unnecessary anger or aggression for every little bitty thing that happened. And then we deal with that spirit man. We deal with the spirit, because that's who man really is, and your soul is going along in this journey.
If the parents are present in the children's life, or in a parent, maybe it would be a one-parent home or a two-parent home, do you involve them in the nurturing?
Absolutely.
How do you encourage them or pull them in by the ropes to say you need to be here with this child?
I firmly believe that when you are making an intervention in a child's life, whether the parent have issues or don't have issues, if the child is dealing with a particular frailty or issue in life, you must teach and train the parent and the child in along the same parallel. Because what good would it do for me to pour all of this into the young person and give all of this to the young person when the parent has no knowledge? You're the primary caregiver, and you have no knowledge of the issues that are present with your son or daughter, and you don't know how to deal with them. So I firmly believe that both have to be taught at the same level. That's my preference.
Well, my producer said we have about 3 minutes left.
All right.
And so I want you to talk into that camera, and I know it's a new program, but could you share with our studio audience how to get in touch with you, some of the programs that's coming up? Make sure they have a phone number and a website, and tell them how excited you are and how they can get their young people involved where you are in the city.
I am Pastor Rickette Green again. I am incredibly excited about the vision that God has given me, the mandate that God has given me regarding Kingdom Alternatives for Youth. We are a faith-based organization that believes anything is possible and all things are achievable. We believe that whatever you put your mind to do, you have the ability to do it and to conquer it. We understand that all people are different. So we have adopted the adage that there is no cookie cutter way to shaping and developing the mind of humanity. So we look to develop and build relationships with all of our clientele that we can give them a personalized plan that will help take them to the places in life that they need to be. Visit our website at www.kingdomalternativesforyouth.org. That's www.kingdomalternativesforyouth.org. And you'll find all of our social links on there: WordPress, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can follow us on all of those various pages and those social media outlets. You can also reach us at 312-508-0662. That's 312-508-0662.
Well, thank you for tuning in to the Women on the Front Line International Fellowship live TV show with Pastor Aretha Green and Kingdom Alternative for Youth. It is a wonderful program. I'm going to be getting involved myself with my youth. I'm excited about it. Thank you for tuning in. And don't forget our conference on June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. You can go to my website at www.sanyastinsonministry.com. Listen, I'll see you next week. God bless you.